Welcome to this very special edition of the KJ Masterclass Live, the show which ensures that you profit from your time spent here with experts, either through their industry insights, information, or simply learning from them. And today we have Jen Rulon, expert on women transformation, 15x Ironman Triathlete, fitness coach, and podcast host. Welcome to the show, Jen.
Thanks, AJ. Thanks for having me.
You are welcome. Welcome to the show, Jen. Welcome to India in this online form. And I'm sure not just in India, but a lot of people across the globe will benefit from what we are going to talk right now. We'll be talking about how one can navigate life's changes. And that we'll talk with your help. We'll understand all these things. But before that, let's understand a bit about your story so that people know who they are listening to and can learn from your life journey itself.
For sure, for sure. Well, I am a 15-time Ironman triathlete. If you don't know what an Ironman is, it's a 2.4-mile swim, 112-mile bike, and a 26.2 marathon run. I qualified and participated at the Ironman World Championship in Kona, Hawaii in 2017 when I said I was going to do that when I was 17 years old. And it was a 28-year-old dream that was accomplished. I am currently I've been a triathlon coach and a run coach for 20 plus years, but I've actually, since I've retired from the sports of triathlon, I've actually transitioned into working with women who are going through a major change, whether that change is perimenopausal, menopausal, divorce, anything that is going through a major change, empty nest syndrome. And so the three things that I work with my ladies are fitness, nutrition, and mindset. And I am a digital nomad living in Costa Rica for 2.5 years now.
Right, right, Jen. So I want to understand then, is it that why do women uh, have to overcome this? Is it the same with men or women tend to go through these things, except for, the menopause thing? Women, yeah, men and women go through the same phases, but why is it so more towards the women that they need to fight or struggle with these things?
Yeah, with women, I've noticed that they give, constantly give to their family, to their business, to their children. And then all of a sudden the kids are out of the house or something, the bodies are changing. And all of a sudden they look at themselves in the mirror and be like, whoa, wait, where did I go? What happened to her? And so I think women have a harder time of investing in themselves.
Right, right. But what about the fear? What is the fear of
Mm,
adopting change, adapting to change?
yeah,
Why
great
why is
question.
it so? Because they have more resilience. They know about the ground realities. They have dealt with it for others within the family. But when it comes to their own change, what is the fear? That is what I want to understand from you, Jen.
Yeah, I think most women are fearful of not succeeding. They are fearful of not losing those 10, 15 pounds. And so they're just very content with where they're at right now. They're fearful of going into the gym and not knowing what to do. They're fearful of I think the biggest thing is succeeding. And then what happens too, women that are going through perimenopausal and menopausal really don't know what's going on with their body. And as we're changing, a lot of women will blame the menopause or the perimenopausal, when in reality, if you start eating properly, start working out, and really shift the mindset, it's going to change drastically.
Right, right. So the my next question then is to how when do you come into their life? How do they know? Okay, this is Jen is the one who is going to bring that mindset change in their life. How do you tell them? What do you tell them that you are the right person? And how does it work? I want to understand again the meeting of two minds. One is they want to understand your mindset. that you will be able to change their mindset?
Sure. I've walked the walk, I've talked the talk. I I not only am I a triathlete, but I am also a woman who's gone through perimenopausal, who's gone through menopause. I went through that during the Ironman World Championship. So my body was changing and shifting drastically while I was competing at a high level, at a very high level. So here I understand the frustrations of what's happening with the body internally, and then I too have gone through a divorce. I went through a divorce, and after 18 years of marriage, and I was scared. I was fearful of knowing what was next because I didn't I wasn't the breadwinner. I wasn't the financial person. It was my ex that was doing all that. And so here I was looking at a divorce going, "Oh my God, what am I doing?" And the three things that kept me together was my fitness and my nutrition and my mindset. So
Right.
I
And that
walk the
is
walk
where,
and I talk the talk.
wonderful, wonderful. And that is where, your Ironman triathlete mindset. What is that mindset? You talked
Yeah.
about that particular thing. For a general person who wants to understand this mindset, to
Yeah.
inculcate those things into their lives, whether they have any problem or not, but that will always help. What are those things? Some of the things you can share for the audience to benefit from it.
Yeah, I something that I teach my ladies when I work with them is I say, give me 90 days to develop a habit. When those habits become non negotiables, like you don't even second guess. So, fitness is non negotiable, nutrition is non negotiable. And then when it came to the mindset of really diving in on who I was as an athlete, but then also who I was as a woman. And that's where I will start talking to women, and we'll start talking about journaling and meditation and just really getting clear on what you are striving to accomplish. My dreams and my goals are very different than somebody else's. And so when I teach my ladies about the mindset, I try to get them into like, okay, what are your goals? What are we focusing on? And then I start working backwards that way to help them with the mindset. But a lot has to do with that the habits develop become non-negotiables.
Right, right. So when such women who need your help, when they come to you, what are the general questions that they need your help for? I want to understand things from the ground, on the ground, that these are the problems that people are facing. What are some of the things that these people face?
I think when I work with women or when I talk with women, they a lot of them will talk, they don't know what to do in the gym. They don't know what to do with their nutrition. They are confused on there's so much noise out there when it comes to menopause, perimenopausal, and they don't really know what to do. So they think they need to fast, or they need to do an intermittent fasting, or they need to do this and they need to do this. And so I think there's a lot of noise out there. And what I do is I pull it together and I keep it super basic because I want when they leave me after 3 months, 6 months, 2 years, whatever that might be, after they leave me, I want to give them knowledge so they can take this information with them to the next level, to their next level. So when women they and they're very women are can be very intimidated going into the gym when there's a whole bunch of guys around too because they don't want to feel stupid or dumb or they not sure what to do. My goal is to get them that confidence in the gym and outside the gym.
Right. So how about the fear? How do you get that fear out of their lives? Does
Mm.
they going to the gym, will that take out the fear? Because you talk about three, which you calls three pieces of advice on what to do to keep the body, mind and soul together during their tough times. So does this work? But the fear part, how does that go out? Is it that you remove the fear first, then you take the next step, or by taking these steps, you remove the fear, it will go off naturally?
Personally, I think there's always going to be a roller coaster on fear, change, all that stuff. So if you overcome one fear of getting into the gym, then something else may happen. It's like, oh well, I don't know. I don't know how much weight to lift. There's always going to be that up and down of just the unknown. But once you start getting consistent, for example, in the gym, strength training, you're going to start developing that confidence. And then that fear is going to dwindle down and that confidence will go up, right? Uh, Something else may happen. Something else may show up in a conversation with I have a client who lost her son 5 years ago, and she's still struggling with this. And her fear is to let go of the stuff that's still in his room. And so this is something that her and I talk about every single week. I'm getting her walking 10,000 steps a day. I'm getting her to the gym. I'm getting nutrition. She's dropping the weight, but she's very fearful of letting go of his stuff because that's what she keeps visualizing. So I'm helping her talk through and work through one drawer at a time, one spot at a time. It's a lot.
Right, right, Jen. So, in terms of now, let's understand there is so much to learn from you in terms of so many. So, let's learn first. Talk about the TEDx part. Tell us a bit
Yeah,
about your TEDx thing, so that people can learn from that.
sure. So you could go on to YouTube and look at the TEDx talk and just type in TEDx talk Jen Rulon. But I talk a lot about my my dad and my brother had this intangible bond through sports, through football, basketball, baseball, and hockey. And I never played those sports. And so when I saw the Ironman World Championship happening it was in 1989, it was Mark Allen and Dave Scott. It was the Ironman Showdown. And it was on the ABC Wild World of Sports. And if you've watched that program, you'll remember the tagline, the thrill of victory and the agony of defeat. I remember watching that, and I said to my mom and my grandpa at the time, I said, I am going to do the Ironman World Championship by the time I'm 30. And my grandpa told me, okay, when you go, I'll go. But I realized when I was training for the Ironman, so I did end up doing my first Ironman before I was 30, and or when I was 30 actually, and that was Ironman Wisconsin. I realized that I didn't need my dad's validation anymore after I crossed the finish line. I thought if I did something extreme that my dad would notice me, but in reality I noticed myself.
Right, right. So, this validation thing you mentioned very well. How do people I have seen many a times, they look for validation. They are competent,
Mhm.
they know about everything, they can do it. They do not need that extra bit of
No.
support. Motivation is different than validation. How do you overcome this need for validation, Jen? Is there a way out of it?
I think me personally, I think it came with time. That I didn't need the constant validation from my dad or from my mom or from my family. I got to a point where I became confident in who I was, who I'm becoming. And when I realized that, I didn't need that validation because I kept validating myself by the choices I made and a lot of people did not agree with my divorce. A lot of people did not agree with my move down to Costa Rica, but it's not their life, it's my life. And I'm not going to I stopped living for everybody else. And so when I started recognizing who I was as a woman is when I truly didn't need that external validation anymore.
Right, right. Let's talk about your book. Uh, Tell us a bit about your books you have written so that, people again can do that learning from those that you have written.
Perfect. My third book that I wrote, it was with a publisher, and it's called Self-Motivation Strategies for Women. You could go on Amazon, it's right there. And I don't get any residuals from it anymore, but that book was written in 2020. And that book was also written when I was going through some of the hardest times in my relationship. And I really felt like the book was written, that I wrote it for myself to go through a lot of the struggles that I was going through. And in the flip side, the goal for the book is now that that book is for people, for women, for men. You can just flip through it and open it and then point something out and be like, all right, I'm going to work on this today. It's a very, very workbookish type of thing because there's a lot of information. And so that is the biggest, that is what I taught women, is just, fitness, once again, fitness, mindset, community, spiritual, talking about your creativity side. There's a lot of information in that book.
Lot of information there, and a lot of information also in your podcast. You are yourself a podcast host, Everyday Healthy Human. Here it is just one episode. People can learn about so many things from so many episodes that you do. So tell us a bit about your podcast that you host.
Well, I'll be very transparent. I actually put it on hiatus, but I
Okay.
have 40 episodes out there right now. And the great thing about those episodes, I talk about, I have 4 episodes on my move to Costa Rica, the why, the how, all of that. So a lot of information about that. So there's 4 episodes on that. And then I say the last 5 to 6 episodes that I posted have really been solid about menopause with women. There was a great episode with a gentleman named Di Manuel. Di and I have been worked together for years. And the other episode that I was talking about with the femgevity, and that was talking about menopause and menopause women. And then there was another gentleman, Phil, and we talked about strength training for women, which is a phenomenal podcast. So I would say the last few episodes and then my 4-part series on my move to Costa Rica are very helpful.
Well, wonderful. And how is this your no digital nomad life in Costa Rica that you
Oh,
talk about? Is it? Tell us a bit about that.
it's beautiful. It's amazing. I go to bed. The great thing is with Costa Rica, sun comes up at 5:20. Sunset goes at 6, so my circadian rhythm is spot on. I get up and I rise with the sun, and it's absolutely beautiful. I take my coffee for my morning meditations and go out to the beach. I surf, I strength train, but in between all of this amazingness, I work. I work online and I work with my clients all around the world. I work from athletes from all the way in the United States. I actually still have I have clients in Costa Rica as well. So I've worked with athletes in Australia, Sweden, Mexico, Canada, US. So I work with athletes and clients all around the world who are looking to make a difference in their own lives.
Wonderful. So you ran only those races that mattered and not into the rat race anymore, if we can say it that way.
I love that, AJ. That's perfect.
Great, great, Zen. Nice talking to you. And I'm sure
Great talking with you.
a lot of people would want to learn directly from you, about you, through whatever you are doing, so, and through your books, podcasts. So what is the best way for them to connect with you?
For sure. You could always go to my website, jenrulon.com, JenRulon. My website is getting an update, thank goodness, after many, many years of needing it. So I'm working on that. But then if you want immediate information, you could always go to Instagram. I'm Coach Jen Rulon there, or you could go to TikTok. I do a lot of TikTok lives as well on TikTok, and you could go to Jen Rulon on TikTok.
Wonderful. With this, it's a wrap on this very special edition of the KJ Masterclass Live. Thank you so much indeed for joining us.
Thanks, AJ. Take care.